Welcome to Fungos and Footnotes, the podcast where baseball meets the deeper side of the game. This show is for players, parents, and coaches who care about more than just box scores. We talk development, recruiting, mindset, leadership, and the lessons baseball teaches us that last long after the final out. Because the game shapes you and the footnotes matter. Let's get into it. Welcome back to this episode of Fungos and Footnotes. We have a treat for you fans. Coach T, it's always good to see you. How are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. It's good to see you too. I'm ready to get rocking.
I am ready to get rocking as well. Last week, we had a great conversation about what to do if you're a non-starter. And Coach T, I want to continue that into this week. And the hook that we have for you today is why the best teammates become the best players. And we're going to roll into this, but how can players really embrace their role currently and eventually earn bigger roles? So Coach T, last week you gave us 3 great points as to who your favorite players are. So I'd like to start the conversation with that today. Who are your favorite players? What are those top 3 things that you personally look for as a coach?
The guys that are going to show up early and stay late, that's number one, right? Because I know they're going to get their work in. Number 2, good teammate guys, right? Guys that are good in the dugout, good in the clubhouse. Very important because team chemistry is vital to success on a whole. And then, hey, guys that are not just good teammate guys, but they're athletic and versatile, right? Guys that I can count on to do a variety of things because they have good confidence, they're athletic, and they're versatile. Need
Absolutely. That. Yeah, quite frankly, they have a list of guys that they don't trust too.
That's right. You can get off of the untrusted list though if you have great work ethic or you're a good teammate, right? You can grind your way into some opportunity. I think most coaches try to reward players that put in that extra effort and really grind because they see, hey man, this guy's out working half of my team. I need to get this guy an opportunity to see if he can contribute.
Absolutely. That goes in the character, right? Your talent gets you on the roster, but your character gets you onto the field and quite frankly keeps you in the lineup because you're going to be putting in the work and have the effort. And whenever you do all those things, that's naturally going to translate. I mean, there are slumps in baseball, but when you have a better attitude and you have a good attitude, that slump's going to be a lot smaller than if you have a crappy attitude.
No doubt. And people don't understand or believe this, but I'll just give you a quick example. Our mental thought patterns can affect us physically. Just perfect example. If you have to go speak in front of a big crowd and you're not used to it and you feel your face start to blush, that's because your veins in your face have opened up and more blood has gotten in there. So that's a physical change in my body strictly brought about from mentality. And I think guys that are highly prepared, work hard in practice, really get after it, they don't have typical confidence problems.
That's really good. And Coach T, you're reading my show notes with my statistics here today because and I'm going to throw this out there, Coach Value trust players, but what you just said, I just want to prove to the audience, a survey from the American Baseball Coaches Association, ABCA, found that the most valued traits in players were the following. Number 1 was work ethic, coachability, baseball IQ, attitude and body language, those are 2 together, and skill level. And if you notice, 4 out of the top 5 are character traits.
Yeah, skill's at the bottom.
Absolutely. Skill is at the bottom.
If you have good character guys, they're going to do the work that it takes to be successful, right? Just based on the fact that they're good character guys. And plus, team chemistry is everything, right? If you don't have good team chemistry, I don't care if you have a team full of outstanding mercenaries out there, it's going to be extremely difficult to win consistently.
Absolutely. Good friend of mine is a leadership coach and consultant, Mr. Rob Stein, and I was fortunate to watched one of his most recent TED Talks, and he was talking about how to really create good habits, but then also break the bad habits. And one thing that he said that I want to hone in on, you talked about discipline, which is key because you can be disciplined for one day and you can eat chicken and broccoli for one day and you can have a healthy day. But in order to see the results that you want, you have to be consistent with that. So you can have discipline without consistency, but you can't have consistency without discipline.
Oh,
And from a
look at
perspective,
you, dude. That's some good stuff right there. I'm about to steal that.
hey, you can steal it. Rob, that's all you, man. I give you the royalties for that one. But it's
Uh,
so true. It's what we were talking about. Like, even if we look at the big leagues, they're not all blue chip players. I mean, quite frankly, you
right?
and I have had this conversation before. They're not always the most athletic guys, but they're the ones that show up, have the discipline to put in the work, and then execute consistently over time.
No doubt. I'll tell you another thing about character guys too, right? Guys that have good character, they're going to be guys with good baseball IQ because they're going to be the guys that understand the value of studying the game, knowing the game, watching the game, and their attentiveness in practice. And I don't mean listening to what the coach says. Certainly that's vitally important. But for example, we're running relay drills at practice. Our first baseman, he has nothing to do with what the shortstop's doing, but those baseball IQ guys, they're listening, they're watching, they're seeing what works and what doesn't work, those character guys, and they're logging that in the memory bank. And that adds to their overall baseball IQ. Happens all the time. Those character guys, those are the guys that end up with the good IQ, which was one of the things that the college coaches or the ABCA coaches wanted, right? That was one of the things that they put in above skill level. So just having good character and being present means a lot.
That's so true. And I think about it as we're talking, the reality is those high baseball IQ guys, those are the ones that go on to be great coaches after because they actually pay attention, they're attentive, they have a high school career, they have a college career, maybe they make it to the minors, pro ball, etc. But it's those guys that really dive in and have high character and the motivation to really move the needle, those are the ones that really soar beyond baseball. And that's actually what our focus is, baseball beyond the box score. We're talking about work ethic and being coachable and having positive attitude and body language. It all rolls together for the time that you play baseball, but then moving forward, moving ahead, all of those skills, all of the things that we're talking about here, that's going to be what moves the needle far beyond the game.
Easily, if you have all of the traits that you just mentioned, you're going to be successful in any endeavor in life, period. So,
Absolutely. And it's such a good reminder to know that you don't have to have this pressure of I have to perform. I mean, obviously, yes, you want to perform at the highest level, but the reality is give yourself a little bit of grace whenever you're on the field because the moment you start putting all the pressure on, that's when, if you're a non starter, we talked about this last week, right? Be a character guy, be one that moves the needle because that's also going to be better for the overall team when it comes to
yes,
how do I go from a non starter position to a starter position? Well, it starts with character. It starts with what are you doing when you're not in the game?
and I'm going to be honest, right? Baseball's hard, right? It's hard to walk out there on that mound and throw the ball where you want to throw it 75 times in a row. It's hard. It's hard to step in that box and hit the baseball on the barrel where the defending team can't field it, right? So it's a hard game. And if we add pressure to ourselves or our parents add pressure to the players or the coach adds unduly pressure to the players, we're not going to be able to perform at the best level because, like I said, it's hard.
The game is hard, especially when you look at scientifically what you're doing. You're hitting a ball, high school or college, you're hitting a ball going at least 82 miles an hour.
But I'm going to be honest, pitchers today have, with the advent of Rapsodo and ways to measure spin rates and wobble and that kind of a thing, pitchers have made it a lot harder on hitters because they tunnel much better. In other words, they're throwing their fastball and their breaking ball when it gets to that half. Remember, it takes 0.2 to swing, takes the ball about 0.4 to get there. So when the ball is 30 feet away or so, their fastball and their breaking ball look almost exactly the same. Now, before high-speed video and pitch manipulation, spin manipulation with Rapsodo and tools like that, pitchers weren't as adept at doing that. And so there were cues that hitters could use to be more successful that, man, I'll tell you, some of those pitchers are really working hard to take those tools away from those hitters, and they're making it even more difficult. So,
absolutely. And remember, guys, baseball success to get into the Hall of Fame is 300, 350. That's still, you're getting out 7 out of 10 times, and you're only successful
right.
3 out of 10. So just
Yep.
like Coach T and I are having this conversation of, hey, what makes the best player? Take the pressure off. And that's the key here. And T, as we're talking about this, kind of talking about the coach dynamic and the player dynamic, did you know that according to a study by the NCAA in 2019, there was a coaching survey that went out. Over 70% of coaches said that negative body language reduces playing time.
I totally believe it. And I can tell you, when back in the day when I was hitting the recruiting trail, that would catch my eye right away, and I'd pretty much just keep looking, because that is contagious and it can get into your whole team, and it's just not good to be around, which is why, like I said, the high character guys generally have the most confidence. Guys that are confident, when they fail, which is part of the game, we're going to make errors, we're going to strike out, we're going to walk people, we're not going to get hits. That's just part of the game. When we fail, high character guys, high confidence guys, they realize, hey, I learned something, and they're competitive enough that I'm going to win the next opportunity that I get. And so the guys that have poor body language, they may shut down and not win another battle for you that day.
Absolutely. And it goes back to the reality, peer leadership, and positive teammate behavior. If you have all of that consistently over time, discipline day in and day out for practice, consistency over time, that's going to lead to higher wins, player retention, and then, quite frankly, better performance under pressure. It all works together, and it all starts with you as a player deciding, hey, it doesn't matter if I'm in the starting line today. What matters is, how do I show up when I'm not in the starting lineup? And that is going to not only change the persona that you have for the game of baseball, but just like you were saying, Coach T, it's contagious. If I'm not in the starting lineup, but I still show up.
Encouragement, yeah.
Absolutely. That's when it changes.
No doubt. I'll give you a great example of confidence and how being a high character guy has a huge play, not just on their own individual play, but on the team. We're playing national championship game. This was, I don't know, 10 years ago or so. And I had spoke all week about we're going to get up early in the score. And anyway, our shortstop, one of the best players on our team, makes 2 errors in the first inning, and we get down 2-0. And when we're coming off the field, nobody on the team cared. Didn't matter. They knew we were going to win. And I could sense it. But my shortstop, as good as he was, and as good a character guy as he was, it had hurt him a little bit. And I didn't want it to crush his confidence, because we needed that guy. And so I brought everybody up and I told them, hey, don't worry about it, right? That guy he has come through for us all season long. He's going to do it again this game. He's going to get a big hit and get those runs back for us. He's going to play solid. We're going to win the ball game. And because we had a lot of high character guys on the team, everybody bought in. They knew it. They believed it. And sure enough, we ended up getting on those guys pretty good. And our shortstop had a great day, right? Barring the first two errors, right? He had a couple, 3 hits and drove in some runs and got to dog pile with everybody else. And it was water under the bridge, and it had no negative effect on our team. If you got bad body language or bad character guys in your dugout or on your team, man, that can take the wind right out of your sails.
Absolutely. As a coach, whenever you have those high quality players, you know that you can trust him when things get hard. It's not that you don't like him as a player or as a person. It's just the reality that, hey, sometimes you're going to boot 2 balls. And the high quality character guys, they're going to go out, they're going to make it happen. And it's helpful whenever a coach actually believes in the players themselves. That's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to give that guy a little boost because we were going to need that guy to clean that defense up, and we were going to need the guy offensively.
Absolutely. That's good stuff. Well, you mentioned the dugout. One thing that I would like to throw in here as we talk about this idea of teammates. Last week, I talked about the blueprint, and you really liked that. So this week, I'm coming at it from a different angle, and I'm going to call it the dugout test. Are you ready for this, Coach T?
Okay. Love it. Hit me with it.
So the dugout test is really simple. It comes down to how coaches evaluate the dugout for their players. And just to quote coach is, I learn more about players in the dugout than I do during batting practice.
I could see that for sure. So how players present themselves in the dugout when they aren't in the lineup necessarily, that has a huge effect on if I'm going to go to that guy, right? Pinch hit roll or run the bases or whatever it may be. Maybe somebody goes down. Maybe we get a twisted ankle or something, and I got to look in there and see who I'm going to get, right? Especially in the bullpen, right? Guys out there on the mound, they're struggling. When you're looking over there to see who's into the game, who's juiced up over there, who can I count on to go out there and shut this thing down and get us back in the dugout? The guy over there that's fiddle farting around, that's not paying attention, or the guy that's locked in? I'm going to go with the guy that's locked in.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's true. You have to be relevant. You have to be engaged and focused on the game.
Hey, it's easy to get bored over there. It is. I get it.
Baseball's
it's easy
a
to
slow
get bored.
game. Let's just put it out there, Coach T. Baseball can be a slow game, and
It is.
It can be easy to get checked out. But the moment you're checked out is the moment that coach checks out on you.
Right. And here's the great thing. Character guys usually don't do that. And that's what I'm talking about. You can learn a lot, right? Look, how are they pitching? Is there a pattern? Does the pitcher have a tell? Can we help our teammate by seeing maybe he's got a little different grip, or maybe he comes set in a different manner when he's going to make his move? There's all kinds of tells that players have that if you're not locked in, paying attention, you're not going to catch it. If you do catch it, it's a big help to your team. The guy that's just happy to be on the team and chilling in the dugout and shooting the breeze with his buddy next to him, yeah, they're not going to help the team. In fact, they can suck in those locked in players. They can suck their attention away from the game and pull those guys out of their focus. And that can be a detriment to the team. So I want guys in the dugout to be zeroed in.
Absolutely. I go back to the College World Series year over year. You see not only the Cinderella stories, but you see the guys that are fully bought in. They got the rally caps on, they got the signs when they hit the double, right, doing the arm swings and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just not that you have to be a cheerleader, but the differentiator is how can you be a quality guy to continue building the culture of the team so that you're getting better and you're making the guys around you better.
And you're pushing the guys in front of you. That makes the whole team better. And if the guy in front of you is not willing to be pushed, you're going to pass that person.
And to that point too, T, it's like if you have a great shortstop ahead of you and you practice, you grind with that starting shortstop, that's only going to make you better, because that guy might be a senior. If we're talking high school, that guy might be a senior and you're going to take his spot next year. So the more that you can just embrace the role that you have on the team, you're not only going to make yourself better if you're putting in those reps, especially if you come early and you stay late or you're taking private lessons. The most important thing that you're doing from a culture perspective is you're pushing that starting shortstop to stay on his own best game, because the
Yes.
moment that he's not on his best game, you might actually get that starting spot. So there's this healthy tension of competition for that spot, but also just being a good teammate to grind it out.
No doubt. And honestly, like I talked about, those high character guys, they're usually pretty versatile because they do have good baseball IQ. And so they have the ability to move positions if need be in a spot. Hey, if you're that guy and you're pushing that shortstop super hard and the shortstop just continues to improve and you just you can't pass that guy up. Well, it doesn't mean you have to pass that guy up. Maybe you pass the third baseman up. Maybe you pass the second baseman up. Right. So if you have that versatility and you're a high IQ player, hey, you can force the coach to give you an opportunity at a variety of different positions.
Absolutely. That's another great episode of Conversation, Coach T, is the idea of what is a truly versatile player, because you and I have both been running showcases or tryouts when everybody raises their hand that they're a shortstop and a pitcher. The whole team
Right.
raises their hand that says they're a pitcher. But then whenever you ask them if they actually are a pitcher or if they have any pitches, it's like, no, I don't have any. I'm just testing it out. It's like, okay, you're not a
Yeah,
pitcher. You're thinking about it. So I think versatility as a baseball player.
no doubt. No doubt. But what you're going to find are those guys that are high character guys, they are the versatile guys because they're willing to do whatever it takes to get in the lineup, whatever it takes to make the team better. They're gonna be those guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for the parents, I would say that you are included in this idea of empowering your son from little league to high school to be the best teammate. Because as a parent, let's be real, Coach T, they're feeling the pressure too whenever their
Yep.
son or daughter is not in the starting lineup. And there's a lot of pressure to fix it, right? As a dad, I
Right.
like to fix it when things are broken for my kiddos. But the reality is, if you remove yourself from the situation and you become a supporter rather than an instigator in those tough situations where your son or daughter is feeling that pressure, then you become, quite frankly, a better teammate as well, because now you're in the corner with your son or daughter going through this at the same time, not fixing it, but just being there. Hey, did you? And we talked about this last week. It's just reiterating this factor of what is the best player blueprint? It's, did you get better this week? Did you do a private lesson? Did you put in some extra reps for your swing? Whenever you
Yeah.
were playing catch, did you do short hop drills? Did you move your feet a little bit more today than you did yesterday? And if you start to encourage your son or daughter to make those things happen over time, you're also going to have the power of being a good teammate.
Yeah, no doubt. And so we can put a lot of pressure on our kids and not even realize it. So we need to be the supporter first, without a doubt, from the parent perspective.
Yeah.
Right. So,
And then it circles
man, I
back
thought,
to the player.
yep. Well, here's the thing, right? I think the players, there has to be a level of personal responsibility as a player, even a young player, right? If we're talking a 9 or 10 year old kid, right? 9 and 10 year old players, they they have the wherewithal to understand that if they don't hit the ball well, they need to practice more. So rather than, come on, Billy, swing the bat, rather than give them some of that, we need to encourage them to swing, to get out in the yard and take some practice swings, or get them a private lesson, whatever it takes just get them to practice early so they can get some more work with the coach, whatever it may be, right? It's every family situation is different, but we need to encourage them to want to do some extra work to see more success, and rather than forcing them or guilting them into it. That's the fastest way to burn somebody out right there from the parent standpoint. If you're guilting your kid into doing well because, well, you're just not working hard enough at it. If you cared enough, you would. We can't have that, or getting after them, especially embarrassing them, right? That's going to be really rough. So, and we're not building character players. We're not building character people as parents when we do that.
It's huge. I saw it. I'm sure you've seen a lot more of it in your 35 years of coaching.
Yeah.
The dynamic of parents is huge. It's a huge lift from the player perspective when they're not feeling, because they want to be in the game. And so if they're not in the game, they already have the pressure. So as a parent, let's find ways to alleviate that pressure and encourage. Just like from a player perspective, we're telling you to understand, hey, your role right now might be sitting on the bench. You might be the pinch hitter, or you might be the guy, your fit on the team might be to push that starting shortstop to be the best he can be, so that you can step into that role, whether it's shortstop or, like you said, Coach T, third base, or even second base for that matter. It doesn't matter. But the point is, we have to move the needle forward. And if we're doing that, we ultimately become the best teammate. And then that's going to make us a better player, hands down.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Good message there.
Good message. Well, Coach T, is there anything else that comes to mind whenever you start thinking about how do the best teammates become the best players?
I think we pretty much covered it. I mean, honestly, right? The guys that are great teammates, they enjoy being there. Other players enjoy being around them, and it makes the atmosphere great. And because of that atmosphere, and because they have fun, and because their guys are just competitive by nature, all of those things, you throw it in a big pot, and it makes those players and other players around them better.
Hands down. We're going to mic drop that moment. Once again, be a trusted player and be an even better teammate. That's it for this episode of Fungos and Footnotes. If you enjoyed something from this podcast, please share it with a player, a parent, or a coach. And if you, the listener, have something that you'd like us to discuss, baseball beyond the box score, reach out to us. We are happy to hear from our fans. And until next time, this is Addison Williams and Coach T with Fungos and Footnotes.
See you later.
Thanks for listening to Fungos and Footnotes. This episode helps you see the game or your role in it a little more clearly. Share it with someone who loves baseball too. Subscribe, follow along, and stay connected, because the game doesn't just reveal talent, it reveals character, and the footnotes matter.